Liverpool have lost 3 games on the bounce. Is this a concern? Are there big questions that need to be asked and answered? All that and more to be covered in this video as Chelsea beat Liverpool 2-1 at Stamford Bridge. Deserved winners for me. Even though ESTEVAO got the goal really late on, I thought Chelsea were the better team throughout the game. Obviously, Liverpool had their moments in which they had momentum and were threatening on goal, with obviously the likes of Isak, Gakpo, Salah, Wirtz coming off the bench as well. They are going to get those chances for sure. But I really thought as though it was like a team with an idea versus a team that doesn't really have an idea right now. And it's an interesting one because Arne Slot, even during last season, when Liverpool were winning so many games and obviously went on to win the Premier League title, it almost felt like he was never really happy. He was unsettled by the situation. I don't know if he was unsettled by the style of play. For whatever reason, Arne Slot felt unhappy. And he kept talking about it game after game. I remember when they beat us actually 3-0 at Old Trafford, when he mentioned that he still desired more control. But I thought, you know what I'm saying? You got rid of us. You know what I'm saying? You got us up out of there. But he is still so adamant that control is where he wants to go, almost as opposed to what Jurgen Klopp wanted to do with Liverpool in his final season. Now, this will be the 3rd season in a row in which I question Liverpool's sustainability. And after a while, I think it's fair for Liverpool fans to say, you guys are banging on about something that hasn't been an issue because it has brought us titles. In Klopp's last year, where he could have won a quadruple and only ended up with the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, it was hugely questioned there, and it ended up faltering when it mattered most. In Slot's first season, it did feel like a bit of a transition period. And now it's like Slot wants his team to go further towards his idea of football. But this squad, I don't think, is ready for that. What are they missing is the question. First of all, I don't know how much truth is in the Real Madrid rumours, but Konate doesn't seem like a defender that he looked like at one point. Kirkes, who was obviously had a great season last year, isn't looking like the player that Liverpool fans would have expected coming in. The right back conundrum was always going to be an issue because what Trent provided, granted there were some weaknesses, but what Trent provided was creativity from an angle in which you don't really get that creativity from a lot of other people. Like, you don't really get creativity from that area on the pitch by everyone. But it also meant that there was a fit and there was an understanding. Salah and Trent had played played on the same team as each other for so long that there was an understanding. The movements were natural. When Trent has the ball, Salah knows where to be. When Salah has the ball, Trent knows where to be. And the rest of the full team dynamic understood what was coming from the right-hand side. Now that Trent is gone, it almost feels like Slot has tried to move towards what Henderson was doing for Salah with Szoboszlai. But it hasn't really worked out because, first of all, Salah's performances haven't been good. I think any Liverpool fan would agree with that. Salah's performances, and Salah was someone they looked to so much last season. It was such a big part of Liverpool's attack. Get the ball to Salah, get the ball to Salah, get the ball to Salah. And no doubt he still had moments in which he did some unbelievably great creative things on the football pitch, but you expect that from him. Overall, his performances have been nowhere near the level they had to be. Isak, another one that's come in. Huge money signing, unbelievable, undeniable levels of quality. He just doesn't look fit right now. I don't know if it's conservation of energy, but anytime that Liverpool are out of possession, he's just walking around the place. And, you know, it is indicative of the fact that he didn't really train to an intense preseason level with Newcastle before getting the transfer on deadline day. But he doesn't look at the braces. McAllister and Gravenberch are both in their own senses very, very good midfielders. But it's a double pivot that, although it won the league last year, still is missing an elite passer in there. Someone that can unlock teams from deep. And I think that's a profile that Liverpool are missing in their midfield completely. They need that elite level passer. Me personally, if I was to be if I was a Liverpool director looking for someone specifically, it'd be a 6 that has defensive contributions and legs, but is mainly the main attribute I'm looking for is elite level passing. Just to make life easier for the Gakpos and Salahs of the world, who need to be able to take a defender on 10 times for them to get past them 3 or 4 times and be with end product, then allowing them to just use their God-given abilities, their pace, to just make runs in behind and be found continuously. Now, with all of that being said, all of those factors being spoken about, it's no shock that Florian Wirtz hasn't really hit the ground running. Although for sure he had actually a huge chance that he created for Salah as soon as he'd come onto the football pitch. But there is a lot of dysfunction within this successful team. Should people look at today's game and say, yeah, Liverpool are done, they're out of it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's way too much firepower to write them off. And yes, it's 3 losses in a row. But a Liverpool fan shouldn't say that the title race is out of their hands. I think they're still tied at top of the table with Arsenal. If we look at the table. Yeah, they're tied on... no, they're actually 1 point behind Arsenal. With much less goal difference. But it does feel like they are in a bit of a slump right now. And if you are to ask a Liverpool fan what is probably the best game to play after coming out of a slump, or to help them get out of a slump, is Manchester United. And that is their next game that they have to look forward to. From a Chelsea perspective, I really thought Chelsea were really good. Really, really good. And to give credit to someone I've actually asked questions about, Enzo Fernandez, I've had questions about Enzo just because it's almost like some days you watch Enzo Fernandez and you think, what is he really good at? Like there's games when I've watched Enzo and I said, oh, what's he doing here? Surely there has to be a player better to be utilised here. And then there's games like today where he proves like, and much of those Argentinian midfielders that won that World Cup, they're a bunch of dogs and they'll die for the badge. Do you know what I mean? Rodrigo de Paul, like McAllister himself, Enzo Fernandez. They know how to get stuck in. But what I really did like about Chelsea was the man named Benoit Badiashile. And there's a tweet I made a while ago when it was mentioned about, his injury and him coming back. I thought that Chelsea were missing a bit of left-footedness in their build-up play. Just the natural left footer to be able to get out of the press and find a player in a better position on the football pitch. And I thought Benoit Badiashile had an unbelievable first half specifically. He ended up coming off on the 50th minute due to injury. And that is something that has been riddling Chelsea. Their injured list is long. Levi Colwill, Tosin, Chalobah was suspended, Wesley Fofana, Andre Santos, Cole Palmer, Dario Usuga and Liam Delap. Like, Palmer, Delap, Wesley Fofana, Tosin, Levi, even Chalobah, these are first team players. And I'd actually like to see Andre Santos a little bit more as well, actually. But that's a separate point, because he impressed me when he played at Old Trafford. But from a Chelsea perspective, they should be really happy with this performance. And it's something I kind of expected, even though they are in a bit of a slump of their own, if we're being honest. They need a win like this to kind of boost their own trajectory. But Chelsea are now in 6th. Their next fixtures are Nottingham Forest away, Sunderland at home, Wolves away. Now, Wolves away is a cup game, and then it's Spurs away, sorry. They've just got to be able to develop some rhythm. And I know these injuries are so tough. Chalobah comes back in the next game. I don't know how bad Achiampong was injured, because he was really good as well. It's a tough one for Chelsea. But Enzo Maresca celebrated with such energy and passion. It felt as though that one's really important for him as well. Because as always, when you're a manager of a big club, as soon as you start going into a bit of a slump and the form becomes patchy, the questions are then laid at the door of the manager. And I think Enzo Maresca is a good manager. Are Chelsea in with a chance to win the title? Probably this season is a little bit too early, and they need to address things in terms of their recruitment, because it seems as though this idea to almost go for the young players with long contracts in all of these positions and trying to get value of players, there is merit in it, because you will get a lot of good young players, including ESTEVAO that won the game for them in this game. but you do need some real top level experienced pros to go with that for you to have a chance of winning the Premier League title. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below about this fixture, about the two teams, and what their hopes will look like in the future, especially this season. But make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe to all of that good stuff, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.